Hello YouTube, I am here to do another series review, this time on the anime known as The King of Braves, GaoGaiGar. To start off with, this is a spoiler-free review. In fact, the intended purpose of the review is to get you to watch it. So, if you haven't heard anything about the show before, that's fine. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll want to know everything about it. So, to start off with, I'm going to basically define what I think describes GaoGaiGar, and that is three things. First off, it's a super robot anime. Second off, it's a hot-blooded anime. And thirdly, it's a Monster of the Week show. If you don't know what those things mean, I can explain them to you pretty quickly. Super robot animes are pretty much any anime that revolve around, large robots. A few examples of this would be Gundam, Evangelion, Shin Getter. I could go on for a while. If you haven't heard of any of these, then you probably don't watch many animes. But anyway, so pretty much there's a lot of robots in it, is my point. The second way to define it is a hot-blooded anime, which is a term that basically means an anime where things are done to an extreme length or to an extreme degree, or essentially over the top. The third way I describe it as a Monster a Week show, which is similar to things like, for example, Power Rangers or Kamen Rider, or the Sentai shows, if you prefer, where each week a monster appears and is subsequently defeated. It is all of those things, but it also manages to defy its own genres in ways that I absolutely love. To start off with, though, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history. In 1995 and 1996, the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion came out, and if you haven't heard of that, what it did was it essentially deconstructed the super robot concept by making an extremely dark, extremely deep, extremely cerebral show that left lasting impressions on the anime industry in general, and especially on super robot animes. A lot of studios, after Evangelion came out, decided that they should try their own hand at, doing darker storytelling, and telling, more intense stories of that kind. Excuse me one second. Looking at my research here. Sunrise's Studio 7, however, decided not to do that and opted instead to do the opposite and to sort of, if you will, reconstruct the Super Robot anime franchise and made King of Braves GaoGaiGar, which was made in 1997 is when it first aired. February 1st, actually, so just at 1997. Anyway, King of Braves is part of the Brave series, which I will be the first to admit that I do not know anything about, but that's okay because it's not a direct continuation. They're just all shows within the series. Anyway, I've already defined what GaoGaiGar is. Now I'm going to try to describe it somewhat without actually giving it away. It stars two main characters, Guy and Mamoru, and Guy is he's a young adult, not quite a teenager. He's 20 years old, and Mamoru is a young kid. Now, it's common practice in super robot animes that the young kid character is usually just a tag-along and sort of serves no purpose. This GaoGaiGar doesn't do that. Mamoru has very good reasons for being there, and in fact there are a few situations where he actually becomes hesitant about his role. He is the only person who can do what he does for the team, and sometimes he feels overwhelmed by this, and in fact there are times when he is put under extreme stress. But at the same time, they also don't overblow that to any extreme degree. Mamoru always manages to stay plucky, young indomitable hero. Meanwhile, Guy, also known as Cyborg Guy, is the main pilot of the main mech known as GaoGaiGar, which is a combining robot made up of the lion robot Galleon, which transforms into the GaiGar, and 3 Gao machines, which are a drill, Shinkansen or a bullet train, and a plane, which form together to make GaoGaiGar. As I said previously, it is a Monster Week show. That means that at the beginning of the episode, following many previous Monster Week shows, a human being is changed into a monster, usually fitting the theme of their character. For example, a ship captain turns into a nautical monster, stuff like that. And by the end of the episode, that character is defeated and they're turned good again. Now, normally in shows like this, for example, Power Rangers, for example, Sailor Moon, the bad guys literally just unleash a new monster every week, hoping that they'll fare better than the last one, and they're subsequently defeated just as easily. In GaoGaiGar, they sort of turn that concept on its side. It's sort of still the same. It's, still a monster being released every week, but the enemies always come up with a new plan, and always they come up with a very interesting plan in order to defeat the good guys, in order to defeat, GaoGaiGar. But, GaoGaiGar and subsequently the 3G team managed to outsmart them. Whenever a new monster is unleashed, the plan that the bad guys, the Zondars, come up with should work. Like, pretty much in every episode I've watched, when the Zondars hatch a plan, I cannot in any earthly manner think of an actual solution to it. Which keeps me very interested. Because it's not a case of just, oh, we're throwing another monster at them. Oh, it was defeated, I wonder why. It's a case of, we're throwing a monster at them, but it has this twist to it. And all the evidence up to now says that the good guys should probably lose at this point. But they managed to, either use some new technology or use combinations of the technology they have in order to defeat whatever challenge is thrown at them. And it's definitely not a case where they win or where they're in a losing situation. They believe in themselves harder and they turn the tide and win. It's always a case of, a clear-cut strategy is involved. And that's, I think, what I love most about the show. I'm approaching the 9-minute mark, so I'm going to take a break. Be right back. See you in part 2.